Hello everybody, today I'm going to make a little orange robot with you in HeroForge. Okay, bye! First off, we have face features. I wanted my robot to have slightly smaller face features than the factory settings of a robot, if that's even a thing. So here I am tinkering around with it, and eventually I settle on a slightly smaller forehead and a slightly smaller jawline. I think that was a good call. Because this was a robot, I felt that a change of eyes or hair or horns was unnecessary, and I skipped right past it. I knew I wanted this robot to look quite fearsome, so I figured I would make it very tall, large, muscular, all of the characteristics of a very intimidating build. So here I am, I'm adjusting the muscularity, the size of the robot. I'm trying to make sure it looks quite impressive, but not over exaggerated. Here we have the helmets. I knew I wanted a closed helmet, i.e. you couldn't see the robot's face, because the face of the robot was admittedly kind of goofy and wasn't really what I was going for. There are a few good options, including the Trooper helmet and the Army Assault helmet, but I ended up going with the electric priest helm because I figured its design was not overbearing, but pretty good, and it did the purpose I wanted it to. Now for the torso. I really wanted a heavy armor, something that had a bulky aesthetic that screamed, "You can't knock me down." And I really only found three things that I liked, and I ended up going with the tactical armor, which had a nice but not overbearing design and had a mildly futuristic robot vibe, which I certainly appreciated. Now for the shoulder blades. If I'm being honest, I really wasn't a fan of any of the shoulder blades. It just didn't look good on him in particular. But I ended up going with this futuristic-esque shoulder blade, which was about the only one I liked in that set. For pants, I, once again, like the rest of the theme, wanted a futuristic theme, and might I say there were a lot of good options. I ended up going with the heavy assault leg protection pants, but there were quite a lot of other ones that I also liked. I ended up going with it because of these side designs around the shin that really had a nice design going to it. It was that little bit of flair that I was looking for, and I think it turned out really great. Alright, now shoes. Again, according with the theme, I wanted a futuristic, heavy armor aesthetic. So I found these futuristic high heels, as if he wasn't tall enough, standing at 6'3", but I think he looks really great. I think it's a pretty good touch. Or the item he's holding. I think this will tell you a lot about this robot character. I want him to be holding a gun. I figured he would be a soldier character, a very disciplined character who perhaps serves royalty of some kind, or maybe is just a lone warrior. There were not a lot of large gun options. I was torn between the Neo shotgun and another futuristic gun, of which the latter I chose. For the side weapon, I wanted something very simple. I chose a holster for the striking eagle pistol, something just a little bit to add to it, but nothing too much because I feel like the gun is already a lot. Now for the back item. There was literally only one back item that I liked for this guy. I wanted him to have one, and I chose the anti-grav pack. It looks really cool looking, and it had a lot of intricate designs that I felt like weighed out the back, which was kind of lackluster. And I think it looks pretty nice. Almost done, and this time we have pose. I was really excited for this one because HeroForge has a lot of really good poses that it offers. I ended up going with Contra Sapo. I believe it's some sort of ancient Roman pose. I could be wrong, I have no idea. I knew I wanted him to be in a dynamic pose, but not necessarily in an action pose, like not shooting a gun or not aiming a gun, something that would induce a lot of action into it. I thought Contrasapo was a good choice. It gave him a very dynamic pose without having him be in a bunch of immediate action. Here comes the most technical part of this. I did some minor tweaking, nothing crazy. I wanted him to have the gun raised all the way in the air, but because of how ridiculously muscular he was, it wouldn't have looked right with his very large arm. So I couldn't really make it work. But I did try my best on raising the gun in the air, and I think I made it look good regardless. Here I want to show you a little trick I did with the left pauldrons, or the shoulder guards. I actually did not enjoy how they were sitting on his arms once I had changed his pose. So what I did was I took the pauldron on his right arm and I made it completely disappear inside of his arm. And then I took the left pauldron and adjusted it in a way where it looked like it was part of his backpack, which I think was a really nice touch. Let me know what you think in the comments. And here we are. The most tedious part for me personally is coloring. I love the coloring process. I know it doesn't show up on the printer, and I know in order for it to actually be colored, you have to like order it or color it yourself. But I don't know. I love adding color to it because it makes it feel like so much more alive. I knew from the beginning that I wanted a orange robot, so I figured that's what I would do. I didn't know, because orange is a pretty overbearing color, I didn't know how much I wanted on it, but I figured I would take it slow, do some detailing first, and then ease my way into the sort of color palette that I wanted to. And honestly, I think I did a really good job with coloring. The only thing that I couldn't really get really that well was the gun. I had to retry a couple times. I even adjusted the pose a little bit after noticing that the bottom of the gun was inside of his arm. But all things said and done, I do think that the coloring was good. I mean, it certainly took me the longest, for sure. But yeah. And here we are, the lovely orange-ish robot guard. I really liked how this turned out. I probably should have recorded the final result better, but it is what it is. I have not named this hero yet. He is unnamed. So I would love if you all came up with a name for him.